Good morning, guys. Welcome to today's training. If you're new to me, I am Marshall Bircher, and I help codependents rediscover their happiness after narcissistic abuse, after love addiction, and after emotionally unavailable people relationships with the emotionally avoidant. If you're new to, so before I repeat myself there, let me get this shared out to the community. The community is where you can find a safe haven from all of this chaos, especially the gaslighting. Let's see, it's a Tuesday. The gaslighting, the confusion, the sense of isolation, the sense of crazy you might feel, the fact that you might believe you're the only one going through this, that kind of thing. The community is where you can find support and understanding, love, and clarity about what's going on. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube, and if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll get you more videos, because I put videos out 3 to 4 times a week. Let's see. Now I've got to... Hi, Michelle. I got to share this thing out. And, of course, they change the things. Facebook's always changing things. Drive me crazy. All right. There we go. Good morning, guys. Nice to see you. I hope your weekend was well. Mine was good. I mean, I have beautiful little messages from my children on Father's Day. These Mother's Day things are always a little rough, a little weird, especially if you've got no contact with your parents. Give yourself some compassion there. Sometimes we have to do difficult things for our own well-being, and sometimes that is cutting them off, moving on. All right, so today I'm going to talk about a really weird concept, kind of a paradoxical concept. Hey, Pamela. Hey, Michelle. Again, a paradoxical concept and breaking back into your reality out of the fantasy. And this has to do with distrust and trust. So in love addiction and codependency, we have this thing called external orientation going on. So what external orientation is that we see ourselves through the eyes of other people. We seek ourselves through them. We work to understand who they are, who we are through their point of view. In this transaction, there is trust. We trust that their point of view is the authority. We trust that their point of view is a fact. We trust that they know reality, and we distrust ourselves. We distrust our own perception, our own feelings, our own understanding of what's going on, our own facts about what's happening, and we absorb their point of view as truth, and then we feel crazy and disconnected from ourselves and enmeshed in them, and no wonder we have migraines and have vertigo and have huge amounts of tension in the body, and we're scared and confused and lost. It's because we are trusting something outside of ourselves to define what reality is for us. And the brain knows that that is intrinsically not right. It's not effective. So how do we get out of this? And it's a strange little trick. But you start distrusting them. Distrust their points of view. Distrust what they claim. Distrust their excuses. Distrust their reasons. Distrust their gaslighting. Distrust the seduction they give you and the abuse they give you. Start distrusting them. Get skeptical. Start questioning. It's like, is that even real? Is there an agenda behind this? Why should I trust them? They've been abusing me and discarding me, so do they even warrant trust? See, when we start to distrust that, we start to break into the option of reality, because now we can start to see what things are. And this process of starting to create sanity or sane making allows us to connect with what's really happening, what we really feel about it, and what we need to do in response to it for our own well-being. We can also start distrusting the shame in our head, the programming that tells us we're the cause, we're the problem. We can start distrusting that. We can start distrusting the belief that we can fix them, that we're just misunderstanding them. And we can start to trust their patterns of behavior, because this gets us deeply connected back with reality, because you can discern reality. You already know how to do it. You do it in other areas in your life. You do it very well in other areas of your life. You can say yes and no to things. You can know what you want and what you don't want. But you've gaslit yourself so much, and you've allowed yourself to be gaslit by staying in these situations, and then your brain's been in a freeze-fawn loop, so it doesn't even know it's in the situation. So we're kind of lost in all of this, right? And now we can take our power back by going, I distrust this. I distrust my programming telling me that they really love me. They just have trauma. I can distrust my shame that says I'm the problem. I'm the one that caused this. We can start opening up to a new point of view, and then start validating and trusting that in place of it. Okay? So we start trusting the patterns of behavior and what they really show. Because healthy people don't abuse us. Healthy people don't gaslight. Healthy people don't diminish other human beings. Healthy people don't call them too much or too little. Healthy people simply don't treat other human beings that way. When they have a complaint or they have a concern, they focus on the behavior and they're empathetic with it. They're like, hey, this behavior is a problem, or I need to make a change here in what we're doing or what the relationship is, and we need to talk about it. So it's a communication that works to understand how you feel and works to share how they feel so that you understand them, and then you build a cooperative agreement. That's healthy behavior. If you're being gaslit, told you're too much, you're the problem, you're not enough, things weren't really that way, you're misunderstanding it, that's not what really happened, and if that's what I did do, then you deserved it, that kind of language, then you're being gaslit. You're being mentally and psychologically abused. You can distrust that. That's not something you have to trust. It's not something you have to buy into. It's not something you have to ally with yourself. You can be free from it. Hi, Fabiana. And so it's important to acknowledge your reality. And we can start that by distrusting the third party that we keep attaching to, hoping that they will validate our experience. This is one of the more paradoxical elements of codependency, is we believe and trust the abuser's point of view so much that we crave it. We want their validation, especially about how they've treated us. We want them to admit that, hey, you've hurt me. We want them to care about that so we feel more secure in our perception. We're looking for their affirmation there. We need to start distrusting their point of view and start trusting our own experience, our own feelings, our own awareness. This is how we become more autonomized, more liberated, more free from that kind of abuse. And this is what starts to reverse that external orientation and starts to connect us back to what's called internal orientation, or a process called self-reference. This starts to liberate us from the triangle of seduction, abuse, and discard. It starts to create a new triangle of connection, understanding, and affirmation. But only with healthy people, right? We can't change them. That's not even our job. Our job is to choose what's healthy for us and then learn to discover and understand people who already line up with that and then build relationships with them. That's essential to it. So Fabian, so much the cravings. Exactly. We're craving them because we believe that they're the authority. We believe that they give us value. They define us. And that's really, really important to understand, is that our innate values enmeshed with their approval, and our sense of identity is enmeshed with them. And then on top of that, we have a chemical process going on in our head where we get massive doses of oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline, and cortisol that bind together and create this basic chemical addiction to the narcissist. And this happens through a process called intermittent reinforcement, where they love bomb us and they discard us, and love bomb us, discard us. So we go through really high euphorias and really low despair, and we're just being on this massive seesaw that makes us feel crazy. We have to get back to reality and start trusting that this pattern of behavior is in fact toxic, period. And the persons that do this are toxic, period. It doesn't matter if they have trauma. It doesn't matter what their histories are. It matters how they're treating you. When we start to really value and appreciate and respect us, our worth, our persons, our well-being, we stop giving them undue tolerance and undue compassion and excusing them for their behavior, and we start going, I don't want this. And then rather than trying to fix or change them, we leave and we go build healthy relationships and healthy friendships with people who are already healthy. They're already available. They already demonstrate these things just because that's who they are now. That's the key here. And this is what we really focus on in From Addiction to Connection, and rebuilding our peace, bringing back our sense of groundedness back into our body, or even discovering that for the first time. But coming back to a place of peace in a regulated fashion, using somatic processes or felt sense processes that help our nervous system relax and ground and orient back to reality. Once we have that regulated, then we move into creating sanity through the sane-making process, and then we help heal or evolve or mature the attachment that's going on that causes all the big cravings and distress. We address that through what's called the attachment distress regulator, and then we build healthy connection with ourselves and with others through the what, how, who model of relating. This is what we accomplish in From Addiction to Connection. And this is how we break free of the love addiction. This is how we break free of the fantasy that comes with codependency. This is where we find our true deep liberation, so that we can move forward into knowing our value, voice, and vision, and really mastering who we are and creating the happiness that we deserve in our life. So if you're really struggling with wondering what's real, you're struggling with those cravings for the narcissist, you keep going back to them, you keep putting yourself through this cycle, this is the course for you. If you feel crazy and you don't know what's real, this is the course for you. If you're struggling to understand how to build healthy friendships and a supportive network, this is the course for you, because these are the things we focus on in From Addiction to Connection. And one of the things we do is we start to distrust the feedback from the abusive person, and we start to trust ourselves, trust our awareness, trust our feelings. Why? Trust that they're valid, that they're real, that they matter. And we do that through a process called acknowledgement and legitimization. And that's like week 6 of From Addiction to Connection. So guys, this is a way out for you, is to start distrusting them. Start distrusting the shame dialogue in your head. Start distrusting your own gaslighting, and start trusting the validity of your pain, the validity of your fear, the validity of your needs, the validity of your experience, because all of these things are legitimate and real. And this is your pathway forward. This is how you break free. Okay? So we've got 5 days before we launch in From Addiction to Connection, so you're going to need to jump in quick. The link is above if you're on Facebook, below if you're on YouTube. It's an 8-week course where I teach you how to restore peace, sanity, and connection back in your life. Helps you regulate that attachment distress, helps you regulate the euphoria and break free of it, come back to reality, deal with the loneliness, deal with the emptiness, and rebuild connection with yourself, so that you don't have these cravings that overwhelm you anymore. In fact, the cravings reduce significantly to the point where you're like, yeah, and then you start building real connection and real nurturing relationships with other individuals, so you'll have no more need for the love addiction. So that's what we do. 8 weeks long. There's a couple of bonuses that'll be coming up here that I'll be sharing over the next couple of days. Make sure you get in. If you have questions about pricing or anything, just PM me or email me, whatever you need to do. Guys, I appreciate you. Remember that you're worth knowing, loving, and keeping. I will see you guys in our next training, and keep yourself safe out there. Okay? Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.